Why was Lilith wiped out from the pages of history? But what made her so dangerous? Imagine a character known as the Night Demon, the first rebel, and perhaps the first feminist. Ancient texts paint Lilith as a figure of chaos and seduction, an entity that defied the very fabric of the early cosmos by opposing her counterpart, Adam. Why was Lilith feared? There's more to her story than the dark legends suggest. Why was Lilith's narrative so threatening to the powers of ancient civilizations? What does her erasure reveal about the fears and societal structures of those times? Adam, frustrated. Why won't you follow my lead? Lilith, defiantly. Why should I? We're made from the same earth, Adam. I am not your shadow. I am your equal. Oh, it gets heated. Lilith isn't just talking the talk. She's about to walk. No, fly. The walk. And if you can't accept that, then I can't stay. And just like that, she speaks the unspeakable, the sacred name that no one's supposed to say. Freedom, then. Freedom, even if it means exile. Here she is, by the Red Sea, and she's not just sulking. Lilith is creating, rebelling, transforming from a mythical wife to a queen of the night. She's not just Adam's cast-off. She's a legend in her own right. Think about it. Lilith's story. It's told as a warning. Don't defy, don't demand equality. But maybe, just maybe, it's also a story of what happens when you dare to stand up, to speak out. She's out there, in the dark, becoming a name, whispered in fear. A succubus, a spirit of the night, preying on those who dare cross her path. But think about it. Could there be more to her story than just terror? Guard your homes. Shield your newborns. Lilith roams the night, seeking vengeance against those who wronged her. Youth, curiously. But was she always this way? Wasn't she once just like us? Bingo! That's the million-dollar question. Was Lilith born a demon, or did we make her one? Her defiance in Eden? It was about equality, about choice. And when she didn't get it, she didn't just fade away. She owned her new role. And boy, did she own it. Across cultures through centuries, Lilith has morphed into a symbol of what happens when female defiance meets male-dominated narratives. She's not just a night terror. She's a wake-up call, a shadow mirror reflecting our own fears and biases. Lilith's story is like a cultural Rorschach test, right? Each society that tells it sees something different, something they fear, something they desire, or something they want to control. Lilith defied the natural order. A woman should not wield such power. Scholar, musingly. But isn't her defiance a reflection of our own societal shackles? What are we so afraid of? Exactly. You see, in a world where every woman was expected to be compliant, Lilith stood out as a stark counter-narrative. Her tale was a tale of caution, spun as a dark fairy tale to reinforce the status quo and keep the power dynamics neatly in place. Her story must serve as a warning. Let her be the tale mothers tell their daughters about the cost of rebellion. Ruler nodding. And let the men hear it too, to know the dangers of unchecked freedom. It's crafty, isn't it? By demonizing Lilith, they weren't just scaring children into obedience. They were embedding an ideology into the very fabric of their culture. Lilith's erasure from the mainstream narratives wasn't just about fear. It was about control. Reclaiming Lilith is reclaiming our voice. In her story, we find the strength to question and defy. Historian, reflectively. And by understanding her, we uncover not just a myth, but a mirror held up to our ancestors' deepest insecurities. So, here we are, centuries later, still unpacking Lilith's legacy. What does her story awaken in you? Fear, curiosity, a rebellious spark. Whatever it is, Lilith's myth isn't just ancient history. It's a living conversation, urging us to explore the shadows of our cultural psyche, and maybe to set free a part of ourselves that's been waiting in the wings all along. Now, let's twist the kaleidoscope and see Lilith not just as a myth, but as an emblem of chaos and disruption. In a world craving order, her very existence threatened to upset the celestial and societal apple cart. But why was chaos so feared? And why did Lilith become its symbol? In ancient times, chaos wasn't just a lack of order. It was seen as a primal force, a necessary part of the universe's fabric that preceded creation itself. Lilith, with her rebellious spirit, tapped into this ancient fear. She wasn't just breaking rules, she was stirring the primordial pot, reminding everyone that order and chaos are two sides of the same cosmic coin. See, children, chaos is like the dark matter of our moral universe. It's necessary, but too much, and everything spins out of control. Student, thoughtfully. So, Lilith is like a storm? Necessary, but dangerous? Spot on! Think of Lilith as a storm indeed, a necessary upheaval to challenge complacency and provoke growth. Her story shakes up the old narratives, making room for new ones to emerge. In every culture, chaos has a dual role. It destroys and it creates. Lilith, as a figure intertwined with chaos, reminds us that disruption is often the prelude to transformation. Where there's Lilith, there's change, there's challenge, and yes, there's growth. From the ashes of her fiery exit from Eden, Lilith's legacy prompts us to ask, what kinds of societal norms are we enforcing? And what are we stifling? Who defines order? And who suffers when we confuse tyranny with harmony? So why exactly was Lilith's narrative so alarming to the powers of ancient times? What was it about her story that made it necessary to be wiped clean from mainstream history, branded as too dangerous, too subversive? Lilith's tale, her outright rejection of subservience, her audacity to stand equal to Adam, and her embodiment of chaotic elements, posed a direct challenge to the tightly woven fabric of societal and religious norms. But her erasure from popular narratives reveals even more. She must be erased. Her story could inspire dissent, lead women to question their place. Ruler nodding in agreement. Yes, control the narrative. Control the people. We cannot allow such dangerous ideas to spread. You see, Lilith's story was more than just a myth. It was a mirror reflecting the deepest fears of ancient leaders. Fears of upheaval, of women claiming power and autonomy, of the established order crumbling under questions of equality and justice. Every time a society has tried to suppress such narratives, it's because they threaten to upend the existing power structures. And that's what Lilith did. She threatened to upend everything. As times change, so do the stories we tell. And Lilith's story? It's been taken from the shadows and brought into the light, not just as a tale of fear and danger, but as a symbol of empowerment and defiance against oppressive norms. From a demonized outcast to a feminist icon, Lilith has undergone a radical transformation in the hands of modern storytellers and scholars. This shift isn't just about changing how we view one mythical figure. It's about reflecting deeper changes in our societal fabric. Consider how Lilith's rejection of subservience challenges our views on authority and gender roles. What can her story teach us about autonomy and equality? Student, thoughtfully. It shows that questioning authority, especially in gender dynamics, can be a powerful step towards equality. Exactly. You see, by revisiting Lilith's narrative, we're not just resurrecting a forgotten myth. We're tapping into its potential to challenge and inspire. It's about turning the story of an ancient night demon into a contemporary tale of resistance and self-realization. Lilith's resurgence as a feminist symbol isn't just about historical correction. It's about claiming space for women's stories and women's rights in the face of traditional narratives that have silenced them, and that's the beauty of myth. Its ability to evolve with us, to serve as a canvas on which we paint our deepest fears, desires, and aspirations. Lilith, once the feared other, now stands as a beacon for those who seek to rewrite their own stories, to challenge the given and reach for what can be. But Lilith's story doesn't just resonate through the corridors of feminism and social critique. It also echoes in the more secretive and mystical realms of human thought. She transcends her role as a symbol of earthly rebellion to become a figure of profound spiritual and esoteric significance. In the mystical traditions, Lilith is often seen not just as a demon, but as a sophisticated symbol of the divine feminine, complex, powerful, and often misunderstood. She represents the untamed force that refuses to be subdued by the conventional. Mystic One, passionately. Lilith shows us the raw power of the feminine divine, the shadow side that society fears but deeply needs to engage with for true spiritual balance. Mystic Two, reflectively. Yes, she challenges us to confront our own shadows, to embrace the entirety of what it means to be human. See, in these circles, Lilith isn't just a villain. She's a guardian of deep truths, a keeper of the balance between light and shadow. Her story offers a pathway into understanding the darker aspects of the psyche, essential for those who dare to delve into the spiritual depths.